All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here for Marketing Your Channel / social media analytics. I mentioned at the end of the last panel that this panel here was going to have 3 sparkling panelists, so totally sparkling here, as you can see. You have a channel, you have video content, but what you need are eyeballs, right? We saw the tips and tricks, for doing more with less in the last panel, but really, if nobody's watching, what difference does it make, right? What you need are eyeballs. How do you market your channel or market your jurisdiction without any kind of marketing budget? Nobody is in here with $1 million marketing budget, I can guarantee you. How do you leverage social media platforms to drive home that message that you're trying to drive home? And social media analytics, what role do they play in crafting that message to your residents? 3 outstanding panelists here today. We have Leah Vandertak, who comes all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yeah. In the middle, we have Nick Smith from the city of Gaithersburg, Maryland. But we're going to start today with Jesse Brown. Jesse is social media manager for the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. Now, that department's social media content is seen by more than 1 million people every week. She's been with the department for 15 years. She is co-executive director of Social Media Club Des Moines and is that group's 2017 Social Media Professional of the Year. She has hosted many Facebook Live videos and has really been at the forefront of government social media. She is an alum of the University of Iowa. Go Hawkeyes. Go Hawks. There you go. And is a self-described pop culture nerd whose bacon number is 3. Ooh. Is that part of the presentation, the whole Kevin Bacon thing?
We'll save it for the Q&A.
We'll save it for the Q&A. So without further delay, Ms. Jesse Brown.
Thank you. In keeping with the pop culture nerd thing, I'm more of a, as Nick pointed out, Lorelai Gilmore or Aaron Sorkin kind of person where I need to walk and talk, so I am standing up. Like Michael said, I am with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, and I've learned in the past day or so, Ohio is next door, Idaho is out west that makes potatoes, and we're in the middle. So just to make clear, that's where Iowa is. And also with Social Media Club Des Moines, and I will say that's a global organization, so if you have a local chapter, I would really encourage you to reach out and be a part of that. It's a great networking and learning opportunity. So plugs out of the way. Just a little bit what I'm going to talk about to kick things off. Those major why are we even here questions. Really looking at the big picture of things, and even though I'm going to talk about that, you still need to look at the details. And then I'm going to lead you through all that to social media enlightenment, so you can go out all relaxed and ready to conquer social media. So, why are we here? And other life-changing questions about social media. If you're going to do social, why are we even here in the first place? Is it because... So, working in those pop culture and Iowa references for you, I had to include the Field of Dreams. Build it, and they will come. When it comes to social media, people are already there. They're already expecting you to be there. And this is really a staggering number, which I'm sure has gone up because it's a couple years old from Pew Internet Research Center. Of all the adults in the US that use the internet, that use the web, 79% of them are on Facebook. So that's a few people plus my husband. And he's a holdout. So your people are already there. So go to there, be there. And the other major reason is people are already there looking for you for customer service. People like me absolutely hate being on hold for 40 minutes or having to deal with a real person with customer service. We would rather be doing Facebook messaging. So with Iowa DNR last year, we responded to 7,000 inquiries on social, whether those were customer service questions or people ranting, complaining, or in that rare shining moment complimenting us. But 72% of people expect a response in 60 minutes. And another staggering statistic, Gartner Research says in just the next couple of years, 90% of customer service will be done on social media. So you need to be prepared to be there because your customers, your residents, your citizens are. So With that in the back of our mind, we need to look at the big picture when we look at social. You know, for brands, even the big brands like Coke, Target, things like that, they are not directly on social to sell things. I mean, ultimately, that's their goal, right? But they're not going to sell things directly through social media. What it is much more big picture. So, more Iowa stuff. This is a lovely goat that takes care of invasive plant species on one of our wildlife areas. And for the uninitiated, goat, greatest of all time. So be the goat of goals when it comes to social media. You have to look at the big picture. It's important to have analytic goals, which I know Nick and Leah will probably get into. And we have detailed goals like that too. But what really drives us, why we're there, drives our content, are these big picture things. We are there first and foremost to build relationships. We want to build trust between our residents, our citizens, our neighbors in nearby states, that they trust us. We're humanizing our government agency. And through that, what we're doing is hoping to inspire, encourage people to get outdoors, to try new things. And for those of them that are already outdoorsy, we're hoping to enhance those experiences. So maybe it's trying a different state park that they didn't know about to go hiking or camping, go fishing for a different type of fish, or use a different type of product in their home that's more green. And we want to, of course, educate and inform. We're government, we do that. And grow support. So in that relationship building, what we're doing is getting people really to go to bat for us, whether it's in the local diner, you know, over coffee, the Thanksgiving table, you know, where there's, oh, the DNR, they're so horrible. And somebody pipes up and said, no, I had this great experience. Let me tell you about it. And hopefully with actual local and state decision makers too. So we're creating stewards. We're getting people to trust us, getting them out there to value natural resources, and then they want to protect it. They want to be stewards. They want to be outdoor enthusiasts and then go to bat for us as brand advocates online and offline. And as my Iowa garden spider will show you, everything is connected. This is something I always have to mention. It's probably not government specific, specific, but it's always the web was going to be the silver bullet, right? Or maybe it was the trifold brochure or the billboard. Everybody wants to put all their eggs in one basket, it seems like, and social media is the recent one for that, and even then Facebook. Let's ignore all the other ones. Let's just only do Facebook. So it's always a part of an overall PR strategy. You gotta marry it with email, with your website, with any kind of printed materials you're doing. And sharing data between all of those is really gonna create a stronger brand for you. So, you need to sort of sweat the small stuff. You gotta dig into those details. And this is the slightly less fun thing. So first of all, how many of you out there actively manage a social media channel? Great. How many of you are incredibly frustrated by Facebook's algorithm? Okay. So, don't hate me. But as frustrating and annoying as those things are, especially even for me, we also have to realize that it's actually really working well for us. I'll really get into this in a minute or two, but if you're putting quality stuff out there and you're showing up in feeds, that's because you got good stuff and because Facebook or whatever platform is weeding out all the junk. Because otherwise, people could log on to Facebook, and if they looked through every single post from their friends, their family, the brands they follow, they could be there all day. And what are the odds that they're gonna remember your post, right? So if it's showing up in people's feeds, you're like a million light years ahead already. Really there for a reason to filter out all the junk and useless stuff, which I know we all complain is still there, but it would be much, much worse. So you also need to know what to track and how often you're gonna track it. If you go into Facebook Insights and you start downloading stuff, I mean, you can get 3 or 4 different Excel workbooks that are full of like a gazillion and 1 tabs, and it's really overwhelming. It's like, what is this and how do I track it? So you need to look at your content, go through the things that I'm sure will come up later, and decide what you're gonna track, why it's important for you. You need to learn how those data play off each other, and I'll talk about the snowball effect here in a minute. And most importantly, you need to make changes based on results. There's no sense in collecting the data if you're not going to do anything with it. So, embrace the algorithm. Say it with me. We're going to embrace the algorithm.
I can't say it. I'm sorry.
I know Nick won't say it. But like I said, algorithms are going to reward people that have stellar content that creates engagement. It's going to punish content that is not engaging, unless they're paying for it. But that said also, don't go chasing waterfalls. Thank you. The pop culture nerd is happy. And so what I mean by that is it's died down a little bit, but it used to be like something every week where it's text-only posts are getting 30% greater engagement, or do only video. And the thing with that is maybe there's a kernel of truth in it, but then everybody does it, and it doesn't work. It's just like with anything. Don't be trendy just to be trendy. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. At the same time, you do have to evolve with the platforms. If you're not using video, you're behind. Should you be doing only video? No. So it's sort of a marriage of that, don't chase the waterfalls, but keep up on what's changing. And like I said, there are a ton of blogs out there, a ton of social media experts that if you just start doing the research on how all these algorithms work, you'll really get a good understanding of how they do what they do, why they do, and that will help you determine what analytics you want to track. And I apologize to any mathematicians in the room if that chalkboard does not include an actual algorithm, but it's pretty and it's there. So, like I keep hammering home here, the algorithms reward engagement. So you put good in, you get good out. So some other things, aside from the quality of your content that you'll want to look at, are the time of day. Is there a certain time that you seem to get better response? Do you want to go into Facebook and see where people are online using Facebook and post then, or do you want to post a different time when there's less noise in the feeds? Post frequency. It's finding that fine line between just enough to stay relevant and then not become annoying. So is it 3 times a week, 3 times a day? You'll want to check your clicks and referrals. Clicks might not be something that always comes to mind, especially Facebook, but it still means people are engaging with their post, and that factors into your algorithm. And tracking the referrals are always sort of a nice, sweet bonus for saying, hey, we sent 3,000 people to the website this week. Again, with the post format, are your people responding to video more than a slideshow video, images, live video? What's working for them? Your previous posts, what worked well, what didn't? And keep in mind, too, that if your previous posts are all sort of not doing very well, that's reflected in the algorithm because Facebook or whatever goes, nobody really likes this. We're not going to show it to as many people. And your reach is going to keep going down. The imagery, what kind of photos are you using? Are they stock photos, local photos? And are people responding to those in a certain way? And because we're coming up on one, anybody who's ever worked or knows somebody that worked in a hospital or a school or has kids or works managing social media knows what full moons do. All the crazy stuff happens during the full moon. But with that said, there's always going to be something that just happens that's weird and out there, and you just got to roll with it. It's sort of that blip on the bell curve. So the social snowball effect, the whole get good in, put good in, get good out. So if you're doing good quality content, people are going to engage with it. They're going to click on it more, comment on it more, and the more engagement you get, more people will see it, the more times it will be seen, then hopefully you're going to pick up some new followers because of that. They're going to engage with it, and it continues on and on. Given it's social media, so probably only for a couple, 3 days, but it's the whole general concept of things will grow if you're doing good stuff. So some basic things to keep track of is how people are engaging with you. Followers, I know some people will tell you don't even bother with followers. It's unimportant. Or other people will say that's the only thing that matters. It's really in the middle. Don't let it be the only thing, but if you are stagnant or you're losing followers, something is wrong. That's always a great indication that you need to make a change. Watch that referral traffic to your website, the time of day, keep track of how many responses you are making. And of course, video views. This is a new one that I've started tracking in the last year because of the changes. And finally, just watch for trends. What are you going to log daily? What kind of things are you going to watch for week to week, month to month, year over year? What kinds of content are performing best, both in the type of content, the theme, what you're talking about, and then the format that you're using? What times of day are best for the people that follow you? And where are those blips? Where did engagement drop? Where did it spike? What did you do? Why were those there? So then we come to social media enlightenment. And I'm going to start with a little story about when I was in high school, before my grandfather passed, he gave me his Army Air Corps patch that was on his uniform in World War II. And I had absolutely zero idea what to do with it because I didn't want to be disrespectful. I just didn't know what to do. And finally, he told me, either you do something with it or you give it back to me. Okay? So that's what I want you to do with your social data is, what's the point in tracking it if you're not going to do anything with it? So don't expect to see a change in your social media if you don't make any changes. Watch that data and determine what you're going to do. So put it to work. Do small changes. Don't do everything all at once because then you don't know what people were really responding to. Sort of your scientific method, right? And if things get weird, it may not be you. I always like to say I can tell a major algorithm shift because I can feel a disturbance in the force. You can just tell. It's like, dude, this went over so well last week. What happened? Why is my reach in half? Why did I lose 300 Twitter followers this week? It's because they went in and scrubbed all the nasty accounts that we didn't want there anyway. So if something's really weird, start Googling, and you'll probably find out what major changes happened. Watch that data just week to week, day to day, post to post, just so you can always be on the fly making those changes. And don't fix what's not broken. If you have something that's going really well for you, keep growing, expanding it. Don't just scrap it because you saw somewhere that that's no longer an engagement kind of thing. So with that, I think we're going to do questions at the end. So write them all down. Don't forget. Follow me on Twitter for lots of pop culture jokes that Nick gets. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Jesse. We're going to move now to Nick Smith. Nick's with the city of Gaithersburg, Maryland. He's a digital content specialist for the city. He oversees the use of more than 24 social media accounts across the city. He is a member of Engaging Local Government Leaders 2017 Traeger list, honoring local government's top 100 influencers. So, Nick, take it away.
Well, I will in a sec. We were trying to figure out how to do this with speaker notes and everything, because I'm not super good at public speaking, sorry. But we're going to figure it all out, and we'll, hey, that's me, the agonizing. Sorry, I didn't mean to, bring it all to bear right there at the front. So, anyway, nobody should listen to me. These two women here are the video producers, the award-winning video producers. I'm just here because I'm pretty and good at math. I am Nick Smith. I work for the city of Gaithersburg, Maryland. We're the most diverse city in the United States. We're one of a few governments in our county that and a bunch in the National Capital Region. To me, the best part of the whole FCC mandate that created PEG in the first place is the fact that it's gotten people engaged in government. I'm a huge fan of government transparency. That's my whole social media philosophy for my job. And so now people are able to want and benefit from this kind of thing in new and different ways. And, obviously, you guys are all better at this than I am. It's grown hugely in the last 40 years. And in the last 10 years, people have really started to change in the way that they consume media. How many people here work for a department that produces video for TV first? All right. So last year, we did a community survey, and 2% of our respondents said that they preferred to get government communications from TV. That was less than radio, you guys. I'm sorry. 36% indicated social media, which is still less on the website and email newsletters. So like I'm not, but Google says that YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. And it makes sense because like if you go to YouTube, you don't just find exactly what you're looking for right immediately. You have to search for that Pretenders song that you want to hear. And I really can't believe I'm going to say it. This is like my 4th speaking engagement this year, and I haven't gotten away from saying meet people where they are, and I'm really disappointed in myself. But there are, yeah, right? It's, she did. But there are 1 billion people on Facebook and 1 billion people who use YouTube. And I have to check with the city clerk, but I'm pretty sure there aren't 1 billion people in Gaithersburg. But less governmentally, if you capitalize on social media video, you have a chance to like normalize government and its communications with a younger generation. And with just a few simple adjustments, you can actually take that video that you're producing for TV and repurpose it, put it on social first and then repurpose it to the channel. And so let's talk about how social media differs. Obviously, social media is a two-way street. And, people obviously couldn't comment on your TV station if they wanted to. You'd have to wait until Monday when you get one of those stupid angry letters at City Hall. But now people can type whatever dumb thing pops into their head right on your YouTube channel. It's wonderful. So realistically, within your own content, you can put links in videos to other content, whether it be other videos or your website or even to email. Instagram has a really interesting feature where they've rolled out on stories that you can do live polls, and you can get that information, and you can say, oh, what do you think we should name this park? Discovery Park or whatever, and they're going to say, oh, Discovery Park is stupid, because that's just what people do. Something else about social media, it's a much lower barrier to entry. I noticed a couple of people have, cell phone setups and gimbal setups. You can record anything. This picture that I've used here is a picture from Steven Soderbergh's movie Unsane. He shot the whole thing on iPhone. It's a feature-length film by an acclaimed director. It's shot on iPhone. So any idiot with a gimbal and an iPhone can make a professional-looking video now. It's wonderful. And that's a really good thing for people like me who aren't trained like you guys, but it's a really bad thing for us all because any idiot with an iPhone can compete against you with your video, yeah, go idiots. But it really does, in the long run, mean that you can quickly and easily, rapidly prototype things for low cost and shoot whenever, wherever, and if something doesn't work, you can pivot away from it. And it's a really wonderful new kind of paradigm. There's a lot of differences in length and content. This thing that I've got up here, this picture, is something that you guys should all watch. This is Real Mesa. This team of 2 women from Mesa, Arizona does this vlog. And I know you're like, government vlog? That's not right. But they're wonderful. This is a screen capture from their 33rd episode. They have got a street named after them in the city of Mesa. That's how impactful they are within the community. People actually watch this. It's wonderful. And they go around and they do dumb stuff like try to sign up for a yoga class, or they try to check out a bike share, and they film the whole thing and they just chop it down to 5 or 10 minutes, and then boom, it's government content. The traditional paradigm of video is, we produce things that for the channel that are 30 to 120, 180 minutes long. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now it's 30 minutes or 30 seconds to 2 minutes is a whole video. I know it's like a commercial length, but there's a lot of information that you can convey in just that short amount of time. And you can do really anything in terms of content. There's, you could do videos about the culture of your organization. You could do behind-the-scenes stuff. You could do interactive live videos, which obviously you can do live videos on TV, but you can't get that feedback right in the moment. And you could produce videos that are information about information. I mean, it just depends on who your clientele is and who's watching. Something else that's really cool about social is that it has really cheap and easy pay-to-play. There's, like we were talking about, we weren't, but I was, sorry. Commercials, used to be 30 seconds long. Now videos are 30 seconds long, and the commercials are 5 seconds long. This is a Coca-Cola commercial that I'm going to see if I can play. Nope, I sure can't. Here we go. Yeah. That's it. That's a whole commercial, 5 seconds long. I mean, you don't even have to trot out a camera for that. That's just After Effects. Like, you don't have to do anything. You can produce that right in the studio. You know, the intern can do that, guys. And as far as pay to play, for 20, 30, 40 bucks, you can get that in front of thousands of eyeballs. It doesn't have, you don't want to use the Coca-Cola commercial, but you want to use your own content, see? But yeah, think outside the box here. Go ahead. Oh, there it is. Yay. It is. It's a brave new world of advertising. So now we're going to get to the kind of nitty-gritty of the analytics. And I say it's easy to measure the return on investment. I've worked in social media for the government for almost 4 years now, and there's no such thing as really measuring return on investment fully. Like, it just doesn't happen. It's impossible. Like, you can't tell, like, oh, who is recycling more because we made a recycling video, you know? But you can absolutely see instantly who is seeing what and when and where. It's when you compare it to TV, like I said, you know, the only way that you knew was when you got one of those angry letters. But the thing about the ROI as well is that it's difficult to see it's difficult to know what platform is going to measure what and how they're going to do it. Like for Facebook and YouTube, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, they measure a view for a video as 3 seconds. Snapchat is 1 second. Vine is Vine is like a 6-second video, and so if you completely watch the video, that counts as a view. And then nobody really knows for YouTube. It's like 30-ish seconds is what people have inferred. So yeah. You know, work it. And so you want to kind of flesh out your entire page. You know, your YouTube page has a lot of different things that you can put into it. There's a cover there. There's an icon that Mashable uses. They have a well-performing video right at the top. They do a lot of things really well. On Facebook, you want to have kind of a custom thumbnail for your videos. It's really simple to do, but a lot of there are a lot of variables that can keep a video from auto-playing in somebody's feed, like if they've got a bad connection or if they've just turned that feature off entirely. So you want to make sure that they see what you want them to see. And then also as well, you can go ahead, on Facebook, you can set for your profile page a featured video, something that you think is quality content. This is ours. We noticed that how-to videos, the searches for how-to videos on YouTube have doubled year over year for the last 4 years. That's a lot of doubles. So we started making how-to videos, you know, how to get a home loan, how to get a home improvement permit, you know, things like that. You have to create remarkable and valuable content. You're like, Nick, it's a PEG channel. And I'm like, I know, it's fine. But you have to, like I said, you can create for social first and then repurpose it for your channel, and then you've got content for both. There are some minor considerations that you want to make, like, you know, you want to create, you know, it's got to be well lit, just like everything. But you want to make sure that you're considering that a lot of people are going to be watching this on their phone. So simple backgrounds, you know, well-framed subjects. Because a lot of people are watching videos at work. and so they're watching it without sound. And so you want to make sure that they can see what you're saying, as well as, you know, as just not just inferring. And you can also do things that are really cool, like you can put clickable URLs in the videos and such. Like, you know, here at the end of the video, you'd be shocked, but there's a link that goes directly to our permitting page. Haha, you know, and it's simple and it works. You do have to be consistent. I'm really sorry about this graphic, you guys. It's just the worst. But you want to get people in the habit of consuming and eventually anticipating your content. Let's get off of that. That's awful. Yeah. There is no panacea. I'm actually, you might have seen this presenter before. This is a live video that she did for the DNR. They went and they just toured a recycling facility, and it is just the superest video, you guys, because they do, like, they walk around and they're like, oh, what did people try to wish cycle today? And they're like, oh, well, here's a set of false teeth, here's a set of shoulder pads from a football team, and it's like, what, And so you've got information, and the really cool thing about live video is that the algorithm rewards it, because Facebook wants you to be on Facebook, surprise, and they know that if you're watching a live video, it's something that's timely and it's something that's relevant to you, and they're going to try and use that to boost that signal and keep you there on your page. There are a lot of things that you can do to make your videos, your live videos, more interactive, and you're going to want to talk to me afterwards about that, because we live stream our city council meetings and our planning commission meetings to YouTube. We use a Matrox Monarch to do that. It's a really cool piece of equipment, and I'm available for the next 30 minutes to talk about it. So let's talk about some analytics on different platforms. Okay, I got a whole 5 minutes, so I'll slow down a bit. But Snapchat and Instagram are really good platforms for you to think about using. If you're not currently using Facebook and YouTube, then let's start small and build to that. The metrics that Facebook and YouTube measure are obviously different. Like, you didn't think this was going to be easy, right? And if you're here for the analytics part of this talk, I'm sorry, but you do want to be using YouTube. YouTube has just a vast expanse of analytics that surround video that you can get information from. They have a real-time report, which is a really cool tool, because their actual report that you get on their front page of analytics is like a 2-day lag. So you want to make sure that you're actually getting real-time information. But you can also divvy out views by time and place to see what works best and where your videos are performing best. We've got a promo for a Wizard of Oz Junior arts piece that is huge in Australia right now. I don't know why. It just is. We're not producing content for Australia. I don't know. Maybe we are, but we're not on purpose. And then Facebook, your views are counted when somebody comes across your video and it plays on their feed for 3 seconds. That doesn't necessarily mean that somebody is actually watching your video. And even that has changed over the last month. It used to be that if you rewinded, if you went back in a video and you watched for 3 seconds again, it would count twice. And so they've taken that out. So Facebook, what I'm trying to say is even Facebook doesn't know how Facebook measures video. But they do a very good job of capturing duration analytics, and as well as milestones. So like when people watch for 3 or 10 seconds, or if people watch 25, 50, or 75% of your video. So those are really good key analytics. Views versus watch time. This is actually a video that I watched in preparation for this like a couple of months ago. And this is another example of that thumbnail that you get from a video. It's obviously the video is just a guy on a computer screen talking, and I would not have watched that if this had not been the preview thumbnail. But do you want to count views or watch time? It depends. Really, both are just good things to kind of use against each other and against other ones. These two statistics are really just best taken as a supplement. I'm trying to figure out what to cut here. What you should measure, though, realistically, any analytic that you want to measure on video, on social media, on your website, just has to be in line with your goals. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Brand awareness is huge, but the city of Gaithersburg cannot reasonably measure brand awareness. Like if somebody is watching our videos about how to get a permit in Gaithersburg and they don't know what the city of Gaithersburg is, we can't help them, So there's audience retention is a very difficult one to use as well, because like I said, we often produce 2-hour-long content. Like if we're trying to look at, we've got a 14% retention rate on our YouTube videos because we produce a lot of short stuff, and then every week we produce 2 3-hour-long videos. So it's impossible to use that, But you can try and find out if you're reaching a certain demographic. Facebook and YouTube both have very decent demographic guessing algorithms that they can, based on what you consume, they can tell what you want and where you're from and who you are. If you're trying to worry about or if you're trying to see your growth over time, it's great to use your audience size as that metric. It is important, though, if you're just making this shift into like YouTube or Facebook, don't necessarily don't judge your own worth on that, because it's a secondary measure as well. Reach, engagement, and shares are really the way that you can tell if you're reaching. No, I didn't mean to say that. You can tell if you're actually getting your message across to people, and if people are engaging with it enough to care and want to share it with other people. Doing just a really short, easy content audit is a really good way to save yourself time and money, because content is expensive to produce. You have to have equipment and time and people and energy and ideas. And so if you're producing hour-long segments that are only getting 4-minute view times, then produce 4-minute videos instead, You can also track your click-through rate, and YouTube has a really robust thing where they can tell exactly where your video views came from. And in doing so, you can talk about your, there's the YouTube cards, the little thing that pops up in the video. You can, it can be whether it came from another social media site or something like that. So YouTube's really good about measuring that. It's really nice to have that tool in your pocket. And if you're somebody like Jess who, who gets a lot of feedback, there's a lot of really good sentiment analysis tools that you can use that are pretty inexpensive. To measure should be about producing more relatable and engaging content. So now we're going to just real quick just touch on some more advanced things that there are available to you. So if you are into data like I am, nerd, Facebook and YouTube both let you download your data to a spreadsheet format, and you can really mold it and shape it however you like. Run your own regression analyses. Not that anyone would ever do that. And damn. Yeah, so there are some really great reporting tools out there. This is Simply Measured. We don't use them. A lot of people that I know and respect do, and so that's fine. I just prefer to do my own thing. This is a great tool that people use all over the country, because you can get metrics from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and all right there in one spot, and it's super cool. They can just synthesize that for you. Does anybody here have a Simply Measured? No? All right, cool. So here's a new thing for you. They kind of illustrate your consolidated funnel from impressions. Is there a sonar machine in here?
Sending stuff through AirDrop. What are you doing?
Nice. That just took me right back to the Navy. That was great. So yeah, these illustrate your consolidated funnel from impressions to reach to engagement. They're really great. Google search, you can actually, if you find that one of your videos is getting more play than other videos, then you can check it out. You can search it on Google in such a way to find out where it's being referred from. Like maybe somebody posted it on Reddit or something. And Google Trends, which is a universally applicable tool, has a YouTube search or a YouTube filter, so you can kind of see like how your videos are trending. Like I had the original graphic that I had in here that was less useful but more relatable was Philadelphia being searched on YouTube over the last 365 days, and you'd be surprised that in the middle of February there was a bunch of YouTube searches for Philadelphia for some reason, something about a football game. And finally, UTMs. This is a sea urchin. UTM stands for Urchin Tracking Modules. And
we don't have a sea.
Well, they're a little bit landlocked. So yeah, if you are using Google Analytics for your website, there's a really good chance that you're using Google Analytics for your website. And if you are, you can use these to find out, or you can place these little trackers in the URLs that you put in your YouTube videos and find out more information about certain campaigns, things that are related, and so on. And the best thing about Google Analytics is that in addition to being insanely powerful, it's also insanely free. I do want to close one last thing. I think I'm out of time, but you guys, I'm gonna just lose a lot of the goodwill that I've built up here. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah. I want you guys to understand this is not I'm just the messenger. I was at the government social media conference this April, and the government person from Facebook told a group in a plenary session that they prefer that you use vertical video for some things like Instagram and Facebook Live, just because it takes up the whole screen and people can engage with it more and better. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. That's all the time I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. And that brings us now to Leah Vandertak. She's with PhillyCam, the Community Media Center, who a lot of us are going to be visiting later today for the PhillyCam tour. She's a digital media specialist there. Leah is a graduate of Drexel University's Westfall College of Media Arts and Design right here in Philadelphia. Leah says PhillyCam has allowed her to get a lot of hands-on media experience in graphic design for web and print, motion graphics, live TV production, editing, among many other things. So Leah, you kind of have done it all in this line of work, so Leah Vandertak.
All right. This thing on? Maybe? You hear me? All right. A little closer. Maybe I'll just slide in. Now you can see me over my computer. Can't hide anymore. Okay. Turn it on. Turn it on? Is it on? All right. PhillyCam. So, I'm the digital media specialist at PhillyCam, which to a lot of people might not mean anything at all. Often when people ask me what I do, they have to ask me again after I tell them I'm a digital media specialist. It took us a bit to come up with that, but basically I manage the social media pages at PhillyCam, as well as create content for them, and so help support video production and other things that go on with our channel. And we are public access television and a low power FM radio station. Generalist, and I do all of the marketing things that are creative. But let me tell you about PhillyCam, but I'll let the video tell it.
Hi, I'm Devontae Crawford. I'm an 18-year-old student at the Workshop School in West Philadelphia. I'm an intern here at PhillyCam. I'm super excited to tell you guys what's been going on here. In 2017, over 1,000 people became PhillyCam members and 15,000 people came through our doors for workshops, events, live tapings, and networking. Philadelphians took to the streets in increasing numbers, exercising their rights to free speech, and PhillyCam producers were there covering it all.
Today we're going to speak to people about the importance of science and why they feel that now is an important time to have their voices heard.
We are here in Washington, D.C. in front of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission.
PhillyCam amplifies the stories happening in communities through our collaboration with other nonprofit organizations and advocacy groups.
Watu ni kwamba watu wa majirani nchi tofauti ni kwamba kwa refugee sio kwamba ndo uharibifu au ndo.
I've never been rejected in any Asian American space I've been in, and almost all other Black Asians I know have.
We helped the Philadelphia courts make a new jury video to encourage people to be a juror. We participate in a re-entry project, a solution-based journalism project reporting on what it's like for people returning from prison.
We're in a state that supports a system of mass incarceration, so that we all have to be a part of the solution.
We took PhillyCam to the free libraries in the Northeast and West Oak Lane with the People's Media Collection.
Our goals for the People's Media Collection included meeting community members and engaging them in the project, training interested library users in basic media production using their mobile devices through drop-in and appointment-based workshops.
We also launched the Digital Media Literacy Academy.
By learning some simple concepts, you can become a more informed and critical media consumer.
PhillyCam cablecasts 20 hours a week of new locally produced television. We're talking programs about health, cooking, dancing, spirituality, genealogy, sci-fi, sports, you name it.
Oh yes, PhillyCam, thank you. Thank you for loving yourself.
Look at all these beautiful people. Oh, look.
PhillyCam members and staff got together to compete in the 48-hour film festival. They made a film in just 48 hours.
So you see, T-Dog, in the end, everything will work out.
WPPM exploded in 2017. By year's end, we were broadcasting over 65 hours of locally produced radio content a week.
WPPM 106.5 FM right here.
We partnered with the Podcast Festival.
I will push, punch, kick, fight my way out.
The Megapolis Festival. And produced a live broadcast from Independence Mom with the mural arts project called Radio Silence. It feels good to be recognized, and PhillyCam received a number of awards and citations last year.
I'm so proud to be the recipient, for PhillyCam to be the recipient of this first award, and I want to thank Danielle and all the incredible organizers of Women in Media.
And we celebrated our community with the Cammy Awards, a festive night featuring our members who best embody PhillyCam's mission. It was a beautiful night.
I think it's so important to have places like PhillyCam where people like Sherry can come develop these skills, and we really need more women of color like Sherry in radio doing this amazing work.
In 2017, youth media members like myself continue to learn that all messages are constructive. Our film Black Man Don't Cry was shown at the Black Star Film Festival.
How do you love a man who's been told not to fail?
We won a WHYY Youth Media Award for a student film, Too Black.
They take my kindness for weakness. They take my silence for speechless.
We hosted our first cohort of summer fellows who created a 30-minute show about creative careers in Philly. We continue to make awesome episodes of our show, Youth Powered Media. We made video art, a radio show, created narrative films, took tons of photos, made songs about inequalities in our communities, and ate lots of popcorn. The youth program was lit in 2017. I'm so glad that I have a dope place to learn and create media.
If you didn't have an idea of what Philly is about, that's a little bit of Philly and a lot of PhillyCam. Those are all things that showed on our channel and were created by people in our community and other nonprofits that we work with. So, why is social media important to us? It can be, you know, events. It could be civic engagement. It could be just, you know, go out and vote, go out and enjoy this event coming up, supporting our other events in the community not relating to PhillyCam. And then it strengthens our brand. So when people see your logo, your colors, whatever that you use consistently, that really helps strengthen your brand so people will know what you are. And your brand can be anything. It can be the city. It can be yourself. It can be an organization, a company. A brand, you know, is a loose term. It keeps your supporters engaged. So people who you've already connected with, you keep connecting with them because that consistency is important. If people aren't seeing you all the time, especially for people at PhillyCam, our members, our supporters, they're off doing their own thing most of the time. So if you're not consistently coming back to them and they're not seeing you and you're not present, you kind of get lost. And social media is a nice way to be able to keep connected with those people that you don't see on a regular basis. You can also attract new partnerships this way. So, you know, it's probably pretty easy to attract new partnerships as Department of Natural Resources, for example, because you're working based off cause-based work that a lot of people can relate to and a lot of other organizations and community groups are working towards. And when people see the work that you're doing and see that it relates to them or that they could use that, that's a good way to attract new partnerships, and social media is a great way to do that, especially if you're sharing your videos that you've produced for other people or live streaming, etc. And also, of course, it tracks viewership and reach. So it's very hard as a PEG channel to track reach at all because you really don't know who's watching at any period of time unless you're tracking through whether it's your website, Google Analytics, and that still doesn't give you the full picture. So social media helps you get a bit more of the picture when you're not seeing anything at all. So some people see social media, they're like, it's nothing but cat memes and President Trump tweets, and it's just a hot mess. Yeah, that's true, but you can also build beautiful community through social media. Our community in Philly of nonprofits and social good organizations is huge, and we're all interconnected now through social media, and it's great. It creates a way better connection with individuals in the community. So ways that we create that at PhillyCam and help support that is I teach workshops about social media, and I also provide social media cheat sheets to new members and to the board, and all of our staff have it as well, because every time somebody else is using your social media or sharing on your social media, connecting with you, that's strengthening everything. That's strengthening your credibility, and it's also just keeping those people all interconnected and building that community. So they're all reinforcing. All of those people are helping you reinforce your goals on social media. So the importance of analytics. It's not necessarily just looking at all of the data, because that's where it gets confusing. It is, like was said previously, is tracking that data, tracking it and looking at the trends. So it's really all very, very insightful data. It tells you who your followers are in many different ways. So where they're coming from, what age they are, what gender or range of gender it is. There's how many people are liking your page on a certain day, how many people are watching your video on a certain day, and it tells you all sorts of different information. And all of that, if you're looking at it over time, tells you a story. And that story is something you want to pay attention to be able to adapt and change and go with everybody else. So, uses for that, aside from, of course, just being able to continue adapting your social media strategy and getting better at marketing through social media, is you can also use it to attract other people. So this was a infographic I made for a sponsorship packet that we were handing out. And this has, all sorts of bits of data, but this is the sort of thing that you can create if you're looking to create new partnerships. And that can also, when it comes to government and things like that, you can also use it to create maps and other social media content, because infographics tend to do really well on social media. It's popular. Okay, so you can't win big in social media if you're going to be afraid of emerging technology. I know social media really scares people a lot of times. I personally find Snapchat terrifying, and I'm a millennial. But you don't necessarily have to use it without a critical eye. Of course, you want to keep that critical eye and work with it the way that it suits you. But obviously, it's not something you want to take too seriously. There's a lot of ups and downs, and good and the bad. And you kind of have to find your niche. So here's some things that we've learned from looking at our analytics. And we're actually going to have this big analytics analyzing day on Thursday that I could not be more excited about, because we've never done that. But these are some things that I've learned from looking at our analytics over time. So live video gets more views than uploaded video. When you're live streaming on Facebook, for example, that's going to be more popular than an uploaded video. Faces. People want to see a good face. They want to see all of your faces, because that's really what people relate to, is seeing other people. So be that your staff, posting photos of your staff, posting photos of celebrities that are related to something that you're working on. Even, interns, members, people in the community, people want to see that. That's the truth. So what I mean by that is that when you look at analytics, it tells you most people access their content via mobile. So most people are not sitting at their desk with a computer in front of them. Most people are sitting at their desk scrolling through their phone. So that's really something you want to think about, is as we move forward, mobile is really how people are capturing stuff. So how does your content look on social media? on mobile, on a tiny screen. It's something you have to think about, because sometimes when you're working from your big screen, you don't think about that. And that's why, you know, vertical video comes in. So political, economic, and social issues get the views. That's really important. Current events right now are fiery and exciting for everyone, and everyone's following. So anything that relates to that sort of content is going to be more popular. And it's pretty easy for everybody in this room probably to be posting about current events and what's going on around them. So strategic partnerships, also really important. The best social media turnout we've had for anything where we did things with big influencers. So we did a live stream with Bernie Sanders, and it streamed to his page. Obviously, that was the most views we've ever gotten on a video. Then, you know, Democracy Now! Retweeted something of ours. That was a super popular tweet at that time. And then even on the low end, there's a show on our channel called The Black Tribbles. And they're like a black geek culture show. And it's really popular, but they're one of the most popular accounts we have circulating our content. And so when you're working with other people who already have an audience, you're connecting to their audience as well. And that's how you can build this bigger influence audience. And engagement gets the goods. So this is what makes social media a full-time job, is that you have to continually be interacting with people. You can't just wait for people to interact with your content. You have to interact with other people. So you have to reach out to the other nonprofits that you want to work with. You have to reach out to the community members that you want to see. You know, you're not going to get an audience or build trust or anything like that if you're not interacting with other people. And if you want them to interact with you, the best way to do that is to reach out and be personable. So there is some value in paid advertising as well. You don't have to put a lot into it, but paid advertising on social media is helpful if you're already working towards something positive, you know, in the bigger picture. Because if you're just, you know, slapping money down on every crappy post, that's really not going to work out in the long run. But if you're really getting in there and thinking about the post in advance and being like, this is something that we should boost, then you're going to get that engagement that you want to see. And then, you know, hiring me was probably a good idea, because I'm a millennial. And but the thing is, the youth program already is kicking my butt in social media. So it really is, you know, if you don't want to deal with the social media, you don't get it, you don't want to learn, you don't want to get into it, hire someone who will. Thank you so much. So there's Philly Cam Tours. If that video sparked interest, or if you're already signed up, that's wonderful. I believe the first one's full. Second one probably still has spots. So I would love to see you all there. It's a really cool space. It's super colorful and exciting, and it's a lot to learn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leah. We do have a few minutes for questions before lunch, so hands up. Any questions? I could just run around with a microphone. Arthritic knees and everything. So yes, Judith, go ahead.
You stuck that landing. Good job. Thank you for great presentation, especially for someone who's not an expert in this area. Really appreciate it. Nick, I was just wondering, what was the title that I saw on the screen about the top 100 something something?
Oh, so I'm part of this great group called Engaging Local Government Leaders. It's a nationwide organization out of Oregon. And last year, well, they've done it for a couple of years. I just wasn't good enough. But last year they do a poll of people across the country who are in local government, and I was like number 96 in the top 100. But there's a lot of us, so I felt pretty good about it. But yeah, it's a ELGL. It's really good. I like them. Thank you. Oh, thanks.
Nice. Yes.
Thank you.
Great presentation, thanks. One of the tools that got mentioned, Simply Measured.
Yes.
It looks like they got bought by Sprout. I just started using Sprout.
Oh yeah, so now you have a Simply Measured account. Congratulations. Yeah.
So what are some of the other tools that are available out there, if you could just toss out a handful of them that could quickly help us
So I
get a view?
I genuinely enjoy using Google Analytics to get the measures from our YouTube through that measure through or clicks through to our website. That's one of the ones that I use the most. For social media in general, Facebook and Twitter both have very robust and easy and accessible tools that you can, and they're very visually, powerful, so that you can use them and understand them without any sort of, having to have a math degree or whatever.
And I just started. It's free, but we just paid for an account for Dasheroo, which I'll just show you guys on the screen, which aggregates all of your analytics. And we barely set it up yet, but you can put in your Google Analytics in here. You can put in your Instagram, your Facebook, and it'll do all of them. So you put add insights, and it can choose from data from all these different things. So you can also put like your constant contact, your MailChimp, your YouTube.
Bananas.
Yeah, it's wild, and we just got it, and I'm super excited about it. So I'll share that with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is just very cool because you can choose.
I
also.
cobble mine together.
Yeah.
We have Sprout, and so I grab stuff from that, but I keep my own spreadsheet because I like to track what I like to track.
You spell Dasheroo?
Dasheroo is dash and then E-R.
Ooh.
Ooh. It's there's a free version. We paid for the paid version, and I think it's like $300 for the year, or maybe it's just $300. Yeah, it's not bad. But there also is a free version. We just went for it, just because we're having this huge data analytics blowout on Thursday. So we're gonna put all of our platforms in here, and I'm so excited.
So Jonathan and I are going to tag team this. Another question over here.
So I've been noticing a lot of the importance of short videos as posts and all of that. How do you get a fast enough turnaround time when it comes to content and editing to make a really crisp video in a short amount of time based on the content you have?
It's more important to be fast than it is to be crisp. There's a really good example that I can share afterward. From San Francisco BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, somebody tweeted at them when the iPhone Bluetooth earbuds came out. Somebody lost one on the tracks, and they tweeted at them, and they were like, "Oh God, my earbud is gone forever. My life is over." And so they went out there with an iPhone. They requisitioned an engineer to come out there, went down into the tracks, picked it up, and they filmed the whole thing, and then just immediately posted it online. It was their most successful video of 2017, and it was just nothing, no production value whatsoever. And you're talking about a city of San Francisco, which is tech, everything. Twitter's from there, and so it's just been it's so much easier to just not worry about the production as much. Obviously, there's still value in that, but there's more value right now to quick.
I want to share yours with you.
Oh, I was going to say, this is our agency's video equipment.
Yeah.
We at one time had a videographer, retired. We're state government, so we couldn't rehire. So people honestly are more into the live aspect of it, being able to talk to us, see things right away. Nick's favorite video is when we go ice fishing, and so I don't always have the greatest signal, and it's crappy video, crappy audio, but like 700,000 people saw it or something.
And she gets paid to ice fish, guys.
Yes.
Okay, more questions.
I didn't hear anything in your presentations, anybody's presentations, about LinkedIn.
No, you didn't.
Just don't.
No.
Assume I know nothing, which is a good assumption, by the way. Why is that?
So we use LinkedIn to hire people, and that is not necessarily what I prefer to spend my time doing. I don't care about who gets hired and who doesn't. I want to reach people and make sure that they know when their recycling is supposed to go out and so on. Just day-to-day trivial BS stuff.
Yeah, going back to those big picture goals. I mean, we do have LinkedIn. That's a lot for hiring, more our regulatory, environmental side. I'll push out workshop stuff that would go nowhere on Facebook, but otherwise, it's not there to engage people. It's a different use.
It's a professional network, really. So it's like, you know, us sitting in this room a little bit, not so much.
Oh yeah, I did just accept somebody's LinkedIn request. I assume they're in this room, so I'm not paying attention to it.
Yeah, it exists, but I don't scroll through LinkedIn for fun, you know? Like, I'll go on LinkedIn and update something, but I'm not going through it and looking at everybody's stuff. It's just not engaging.
Crit, go ahead.
Okay, what about for government users, especially the need for a tool like Archive Social?
Oh man, Archive Social is my #1 thing that I had to cut from this. Like, I love them. I've done webinars for them. I'm great friends with some of their staff. And given the chance, Archive Social will one day be the most time-saving thing that I'll ever use. Because we're going to get FOIA'd about some stupid thing, and I'm going to have to go through 18,000 posts from the last 2 years about all the stupid metadata, and Archive Social is just going to automatically do it for me. I didn't put it in here because it doesn't necessarily relate, but I did want to. I'm glad that you brought it up. They're fantastic.
And we use it too. I had to officially block my first user for lots of reasons I won't get into, but violating policy. And I went into Archive Social and gathered every comment he ever left on our page, and I have that as my big defense right in front of me. So.
Thanks. I noticed that a lot of the major networks are using Periscope or Twitter Live. Do you guys have any experience with Twitter Live or Periscope, and are there any value in it for you, or do you see any value in it? Thanks.
I use Twitter Live. I see value in it a bit, but it's definitely harder to get views on there than it is on Facebook or on Instagram. It might be algorithm related or just the interface. People aren't necessarily watching videos as much on Twitter. But if it's like, you know, something of not dire importance, sometimes I'll stream it to Twitter, especially if I'm already in a Twitter conversation about it or have been tweeting actively about it with other, you know, people. Then I start throwing up the live video.
I've had the same experience with it where we just don't get the engagement that we do on Facebook. So there we have, you know, questions coming at us left and right, and Twitter is just sort of a thumbs up here and there, and then it's over. So.
Yeah, I've only ever done one live video on Twitter, and somebody commented about how out of breath I sounded, so we don't do it anymore.
This isn't so much a question, but just kind of a point of information. People talk about things like they have to choose whether they're going to put it on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, and you don't have to decide that. You can actually do all of those at the same time. We use a service called Switchboard, and there's a free version of it called Joycaster, and technically you can't do Facebook and still do the other things, but if you do it as an RTMP feed to YouTube, you can still do Facebook and YouTube at the same time, as well as Twitter and all those other things. So you don't have to choose.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah, that's what we do too. We stream particularly to Facebook and YouTube at the same time as our TV channel. So that's always really fun.
Nice.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes left. Yes.
Bet you can't take all 5 minutes.
So my question is more towards when you are using Facebook Live or YouTube Live as your means to get out video, because of the platform that you're using, do you acknowledge that, hey, this is Facebook Live? Do you encourage and say, hey, if you're not subscribed to our channel, subscribe to our channel? Do you go into the, I guess, YouTube vlogger, like this channel, reblog, while you're filming, or do you just kind of, or do you not do that so much? Or what would you recommend?
It would be wise to do that, but we don't. Okay. Yeah, vlogging is super popular. It works so great in comparison to just like having the video and narrating it. It's great if you can vlog your videos. People love that. The personal touch is really what connects to people. So.
And I think that's what makes our Facebook Live videos go so well is, for better or worse, they're stuck with my brand on it. But it's a familiar face now because I'm the only one that is out there introducing it. And it's the same. I'm just talking back and forth with them, you know, share it with your friends, follow us, what do you want to see? And it's that relationship that maybe we wouldn't get through other videos.
Yes, go ahead.
In a city or a county, how do you manage different departments? Like they all want to post things on social media, how do you manage that? Is
With
it
an iron fist.
Same at state, too.
I mean, do you approve as everything go through you have a bottleneck if you...
Ideally, yeah, sure. I mean, that's the edict that we've issued, but, whether or not it happens, that's a whole different other thing, man. There's people that just want to do whatever the hell they want to do, and they're just going to do it, and then you're going to get mad at them, and they know that, and that's part of the reason they did it. But no, that's not too specific to be made up. So, yeah, No, it is. It's difficult to manage, a bunch of different facilities. I'm sure she has it even worse. She's got a whole state to deal with. But you just have to lay out the rules and hope people do the right thing, because otherwise, they have to realize and recognize that they're going to be hurting their chances at quality engagement.
Ultimately, it had to come down from our leadership, because when we first really started doing social media as an effort, it was, well, I want my page, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And some of them just went out and started setting things up. Like, no, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically it was an edict. They got their, hand slapped with a ruler kind of thing. But now over time, it's really become this is how we work together. This is, we've always had to focus in the past few years on a one DNR kind of strategy, that we're not this program, we're not fishing, we're not this, we're DNR. And so really working with them, sort of, guiding their content, they feel valued. I get to control the branding, the message, the look, the customer response, which is, I think, one of the biggest reasons for me that we do not have 300 Facebook or Twitter channels, is I can control all the messages.
Jody?
I just wanted to add to that, as for those in the room that are the managers and supervisors and administrators, that it seems like a basic thing, but just providing that title to the employee who should have the control. They may not be a high level in the org chart, but saying this person is the queen of graphics and logos, and this person is the social media king, and giving you the power that you are in charge of that, so you can tell coworkers who may even be above you that they cannot do something.
That was the most important part of this whole talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely not an idiot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, probably one more question. All right? Okay, that's good. Want to thank Jesse Brown, Nick Smith, Leah Vandertat. And don't forget, we have the PhillyCam tour later today. And now, let's go have lunch. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, you did such a good job.